Hello Transformers fans, welcome to this place. And today we're going to be taking a look at some parts for these things, 80s toys. Replacement parts for your G1 Transformers. And sometime back I picked up an extra Rodimus Prime for really cheap. As I always say, buy things incomplete because the price gets really good when pieces are missing. The reason this Rodimus was so cheap, maybe partly because it's one of the 87 reissue Rodimuses with plastic wheels, but he didn't have his spoiler. So I've been looking for an extra spoiler for him for quite some time. This is just one I took off of my destroyed original G1 Hot Rod, and I rigged it so that it would work, but it's kind of undersized. So I was hoping to find an extra spoiler for him. I also picked up, speaking of great deals for incomplete Transformers, right in my own town, G1 Galvatron, missing everything, and I'm talking everything. He's even missing the little latch thing that comes out here. $20 Canadian, an incredible deal. But the problem is the cannon and the piece that goes on there. They're so expensive on their own. It's really not worth hunting them down on eBay. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of the great deal for the figure. So I'm always looking for reissue parts for stuff like that, because it's maybe not at the same quality level as the original stuff, but it works for me. I've never been one to look at my toys or parts with one of these. Close enough is close enough, in my opinion. So let's take a look at some of these reissue parts that Mike from Destron Designs was kind enough to send along. And you can find Destron Designs on eBay. I'll also add the link in the video description. And we're going to start off with a part I've been looking for quite some time. By the way, the packaging on these are awesome. Really, really cool. I wasn't expecting nice little individual boxes with printing. Destron is what they call the Decepticons in Japan. Even numbering like you see on a lot of third-party Transformers. And this is really going the extra mile. This isn't a Ziploc bag. This is actually sealed like an official Hasbro or one of the higher-end third-party companies like Fans Toys. So there's even a little diagram here that explains what you're supposed to get. And we've also got this little part that was missing on my Galvatron that goes on his waist, as well as Galvatron's gun, and you also get this really nice card in here. Destron Designs action figure accessories. Got the key to Vector Sigma with scan codes on there. You can follow them on Instagram and on Facebook. So I'm going to go through all of these individually and just show off the quality of them, the tolerances of them, how they fit with the G1 Transformers. And I do have a complete G1 Galvatron. Does he have batteries? Yeah, he does. That I'll be able to compare all the parts to. And let's kick it off with this one right here. So seeing is one thing, and I'm going to do my best to give you a really good look at these. Feeling is another thing that is also very important. You're not going to be able to tell that, so I'm going to do my best to convey what these feel like, because plastic does matter. And the early 3D printing from years ago, when this first started getting really popular, didn't impress me at all. They were really fragile. Didn't take much to break them. I am really, really impressed with modern 3D printing. You can see it's 3D printing just from those lines. That's kind of a trademark of 3D printing. And if you get really close in there, you can see some of those scan lines in there. So they are in there, but it has a flexibility to it. This isn't terrifying. Pushing it a little bit. And that's important for this part. It needs to have a little bit of give to go on his arm. This too, I'm giving it a good squeeze, and I mean, this part isn't supposed to be all that bendy, but the plastic quality on it feels fantastic. And I'll give you a comparison to the original. This is not a reissue. This is an original G1 Galvatron cannon. Let's pop the cannon into the holder part. Oh, perfect. Fantastic. That feels exactly like, and as a matter of fact, this is even a more snug fit, secure fit than the original, which has probably been pulled out a bunch of times. It's not my original G1 Galvatron, but the Destron Designs one doesn't have the sparkle effect in it. I know a big thing when it comes to repro parts, some people get agitated when it's an exact match, and I'm talking usually with like the smaller parts like Snake Eyes' Uzi, when it's really hard to tell. You will instantly be able to tell that this is a reproduction and that's an original. There's no confusion there. You can tell just by looking closely. You'll see the lines in the 3D printing. You'll also see kind of the same type of swirl in the 3D printing, lack of sparkles. So there's no confusion there. But despite being a 3D printed part instead of one of those casted mold parts, it feels great. It looks great. The lines aren't all that, I mean, I'm holding it right up to the camera, so they're going to be a little more pronounced, but from the proper distance, about how far it would be from your eye, it looks fantastic. And I guess the moment of truth is to see not only how well the cannon fits in the arm mount, but how well that attaches to the arm of a G1 Galvatron. It is excellent. Perfect. Nice and snug. Do I dare? You can actually lift Galvatron up and hold him securely by that, and it comes off without breaking. That's Galvatron. That creaking is Galvatron. It's on there much more securely than the G1 cannon is. In order to get it off, you just need to kind of get your, if you've got fingernails or thumbnails, just kind of twist it and pop it off. So that is no problem whatsoever. And then there's the original one. Look at how easily, I mean, that takes no effort whatsoever. I'm holding it by the very tip here and popping it off. So in terms of stability, being sturdy, you got nothing to worry about with the arm attachment. And let's see how well this fits in Galvatron's cannon mode. And that's once again perfect. That feels nice and snug, and no effort to pull it out either. I don't have any batteries in that one, but you can pop that in there and kill one of the lights. You can see that the cannon actually lights up quite nicely. So Galvatron's cannon, fantastic. Reproduction for that guy right there. I've always just done this for Galvatron when he's in his cannon mode, so that I don't misplace the cannon holder. I just leave it on his arm like this. It's not toon accurate or comic accurate, but it works for me. It also comes with this little blaster. I'll give you a comparison here. Can you tell maybe I'll mix them up. And can you tell the original and the reproduction? Should be pretty obvious, especially if you hold it up this close to your eye. The reproduction has the little lines in it, but it's a really nice plastic. Again, testing the tolerances. When it comes to reproduction parts, it's so important for the pegs to be the right size. I've had a couple of reproduction parts that they weren't. It was oversized and I had to do some shaving and cutting. Look at that. That is fantastic. Perfect tolerance. Great work, Mike. That's awesome. So, okay, so that's one Galvatron. Because I've done some reproduction parts reviews in the past, and I've noticed that the tolerances are actually different. on the same figure. So just to be extra sure, I'm going to take one of the hands out of this other Galvatron, and they should all be the same. Should be universal, and it is. So that's two different G1 Galvatrons that fit the cannon blaster perfectly. And by the way, the gun on my G1 Galvatron is extremely loose, so the reproduction in this case is actually superior. And then the last Galvatron part is this part that goes on his back, and there's a nice diagram right there, and this just sticks onto there. Like I said, I'm missing the little part that is supposed to clip in right there, but even without that, look at how sturdy that is. That's extremely impressive. And just to make sure that it is compatible with that little part, I'm going to pull it off of the G1 Galvatron I've got here that does have that part. And here's a side-by-side. Original, reproduction. Color is very, very close. Just a little bit lighter purple on this one. And no rub symbol on. Oh, look at that, it still works. No rub symbol on the original. And holding it nice and close with the light hitting it just right, you can see that 3D printed line design in there, so you can tell that it's a reproduction. And let's just make sure that it fits on this little thing right here that's missing off the other guy. So this is a tricky part to get on the original piece. It's probably going to be just as tricky on this one. Now this is going to take, it looks like a little bit of force to do, which is going to test the strength of this one. He's protesting. There we go, we got it. It's on there, and when you transform him, that'll go down like that, hook into the body. When he transforms to robot mode, it's supposed to swing up, and it does. Up out of the way, and it's perfect. It's fantastic. The color is so close that it looks like an exact match to me. The only difference is it has the 3D printing lines in it, and this is smooth. Other than that, it's like a perfect match. So that's 3 for 3 for Galvatron. And I just noticed this part right here has these little nubs which click into those holes right there on either side. I remember when I was talking to Charlie from Charlie's Custom Toy Shop about his Ghostbusters parts, and I was saying how careful I was being with his parts, and he said, oh, I throw them against a wall to test them. And I was surprised because I didn't think 3D printing could be that tough, but just from futzing around with Galvatron, the Galvatron parts here, I have a feeling that these are just as tough as Charlie's Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters parts. I'm really, really impressed. These don't feel flimsy or hollow or light at all. This stuff is really good and sturdy. Next up are some reproduction parts for Galvatron's arch nemesis, Rodimus Prime. And once again, individually boxed. And another nice card in there. And this is the one I've been looking for quite some time. For some reason, it is hard to find reproduction wings or spoilers for Rodimus Prime. This is a very often lost piece on this guy, and they can go for quite a bit of dough. This is really, really yellow, very vibrant, super vibrant, just a tiny bit brighter than the original one. I love it. That is a nice high saturated yellow. It has the same texture as the Galvatron parts. You can hear that, but because it's such a bright yellow, it's hard to see the lines on it. Very hard. You can sort of see them there, just with the the right amount of light and shadow, which is not going to be how you're going to be displaying your Rodimus Prime. I mean, like a foot away from your face, and it's very hard to tell, but close enough, you will know that it is a reproduction part. So does it fit? That's the important thing. It's a perfect fit. You know, I don't get too worked up about having to do a little tweaking on parts, a little shaving down, sanding, or adding a little bit of glue or nail polish in order to make something fit a little bit better. But it's a nice bonus when there's no work to be done. And once again, Mike has got the size of it absolutely perfect. And it just looks so much better with the big spoiler instead of the other one I had. Here's another case of the reproduction being somewhat superior to the original one. The original one, or at least this is a reissue, commemorative series Rodimus Prime. It has these plastic production holes in behind his head, and Destron Designs has removed those. It's just solid. So I actually like how that looks better. And the yellow is just so nice and vibrant. These are Toy Hacks upgrade stickers or reproduction stickers on both of them. And to my eye, if you've got these Toy Hacks, or Repro labels as they used to be called, stickers, the spoiler is an exact match to the yellow on those stickers. On the commemorative Rodimus Prime, it's just a tiny bit duller yellow. So that's the spoiler, which is an absolute home run. Fantastic. And it's got a little bit of give to it too. It's not that fragile, brittle plastic that those early days of 3D printing was. Fantastic quality right there. There's his rifle. Let's see how that measures up to Rodimus's original blaster. And this can be fragile. This has these parts on the bottom there that are rather thin, but this is a good one to show you just how much give this plastic has. That's really impressive. And a comparison with the original one, you can see the printing lines on the sides there. This one looks a little more glossy because it doesn't have the lines. But that one fits perfectly as well. Nice and sturdy. I'm getting a little bit more confident with how much I can stress this plastic out. This is, you know, even though it's 3D printed, it's seeming to me like original G1 quality plastic on it. And then there's one more piece to complete your G1 Rodimus Prime. Another piece that gets lost a lot. It's these little panels that go on the side of his trailer. Didn't take me very long to lose these back in 1986. And again, you can see those 3D printing line design on them. Pop these out, give you a comparison to the original one. The original one is just smoother and shinier. This might actually be something that some people would prefer, a less glossy look. It looks more used and worn, battle ravaged. And I don't know what the official way is. It doesn't really matter to me. They can go in either way. The important thing is if they fit, and they do fit, I'll just flip that around so that they're the same on both sides. They fit perfectly. Really snug and sturdy, exactly like the originals. Exactly. Perfect fit again. So if you can track down a Rodimus Prime, missing everything, grab them for 20 bucks. You've got a little more affordable option completing him with the reproduction parts. He's going to look pretty much exactly like a G1 Rodimus Prime. Unless, like I said, use one of those. And up next are the attachments for G1 Megatron. Really beautiful box. Comes with the silencer, stock, and scope. A complete G1 Megatron can go for quite a bit of money. A completely incomplete Megatron does not go for all that much, just like any G1 incomplete transformer. So the parts included here, these are the little pellets from the G1 Takara version that actually shot pellets. If you've got the Takara version of Megatron, this is just the North American release that doesn't fire. There's the scope, which goes on his arm, and the little graphic right there of how to piece it together. And there's a particular way that these need to fit into each other. You see here there's a gap, and here there's a little nub, a post that fits into there. Same thing on the other side as well. Another little gap right there, and a little post on the bottom. So if you just try to pop it on like that, it won't go. Try twisting. And once it's in there, it's good and sturdy. And there's a hole right through, so you can do a little bit of James Bond action. So, big question is, how does it fit on the gun? Now this is, like I said, an original 1984 Megatron. So he might be worn down a little bit, but we'll see how this works. And I can't remember which way it's supposed to feed onto. Is it from the back? Yes, it is. Wiggle, and I've gone too far. Stop right there. It's perfect. Just like everything else is fit today. It's a perfect fit. It's good and sturdy. I'll show you, I mean, the arms aren't holding the gun all that well anymore, but the scope is attached perfectly onto the gun there. No problems whatsoever. Won't fly off if you're shaking the gun around. So that is a perfect fit. And next up, we've got the stock. Now this part is going to be interesting. This opens up on the original one. I don't know if it's going to do that. Oh, it does! Look at that. It's actually functional. So that is for when you turn this into the big cannon for Megatron. You can pop that on there too. And then the scope goes on top of there. But let's close that up right now to get it into full upgraded gun mode. And this, I believe, plugs like that. And then that slides onto there. That's on there nice and snug as well. Perfect fit. Looking fantastic. I didn't mind having an incomplete Megatron, but one with all the attachments on it is just so much better. And then finally, and that's 3 pieces. So this tip part goes on the very end. Does that come out? Yeah, it does. Just like the original one. That comes out right there. And then that attaches like that. Or the other way, like that. The tip of the pistol feeds into that gap right up there. Clips in. And man, that's sturdier than the reissue Megatron part that I tried on this guy. This is a very old Megatron. You see he's starting to come apart a little bit, but these parts are nice and sturdy. No drooping there. Fantastic. Looks awesome. Beautifully done. Makes a huge difference. And as I said earlier, if you have the Japanese version, either the original G1 Megatron or The reissue, the Takara reissue, shoots as well. I believe this up here is where these plastic pellets went. And you can just drop them in there and fire them away. So nice to have a reload in case you've lost all your originals, if you do have a shooting version of Megatron. So as nice as this looks, it's a little precarious. It's a little wobbly. Always has been. The G1 version with the original parts is too. It's not all that sturdy to put Megatron in his full form like this. So also available from Destron Designs is the G1 stand. And this is a stand for Megatron. Comes securely packed in bubble wrap. No bubble mailer here. Comes in purple, which Megatron is partial to. And you got the Destron Designs logo right on there. So it looks like two parts. That just slides into that. Oh, I like that. It's actually in the shape of the handle. And it also comes with some anchors and screws. Talking about going the extra mile. That is awesome. So you can attach it to your wall. If you don't have any flat surface to put this on, you can screw it into the wall, and there's a second way to attach from the top. So you can mount it on a wall or put it on a shelf. You got options. You don't even have to go and get yourself anchors and screws. And some detailed instructions on how to do that. So just take the gun and drop it in there like so. Actually, it drops in and holds. So now, this has always been a big thing for me when it comes to Megatron. I don't like his barrel touching the ground when I have him sitting like this, and you've always had to without a stand. Now that he's in this stand, the barrel doesn't have to hit the ground. That is such a beautiful way of displaying G1 Megatron. It's, now that I've seen it, honestly the only way to display G1 Megatron. Because with the way I have my Masterpiece Transformers, I've either just done that or had like a mini Megatron because I didn't like this giant thing taking up all this space going this way and kind of getting bent at the barrel. But with this stand now being as secure as it is, I mean, let's put it to the test. Look how much I'm shaking that thing. And it's not falling over. So the stock is still touching just a little bit, which is nice. But that is nice and sturdy. You can go that way. Yeah, that's awesome. That is a pretty vital part, I think, of G1 Megatron. And there's two more stands. One for MP36, one for MP05. MP36 stand looks just like the G1 stand. Same idea, same design, just enlarged and sized to MP36. You can have it sit on a shelf, or you can mount it to a wall, and once again, anchors and screws included. And there is also, for this atrocity, this monstrosity, MP05, how could anyone forget that thing? The robot mode of MP05 Megatron is an absolute nightmare. But the gun mode, with as huge as it is, it had some charm to it. And now that I actually have a stand to properly display MP05, I'm kind of tempted to dig that thing out from wherever it's buried, transform it. I'll definitely be looking for my rabbit's foot and sing a couple prayers before I attempt that. But I think MP05 would look fantastic in his giant gun mode, finally with an actual stand. I don't know how sturdy the rest of MP5 would be, but I have a lot of faith in this stand being able to hold him nicely and securely. So, depending on whichever Megatron you have, whether it's original, masterpiece, disaster piece, MP05, or the true masterpiece, MP36 Megatron, you have some great ways to display Megatron in his gun mode now. Well, you know that line in that old song, sometimes you gotta go through hell before you get to heaven. This is MP05 Masterpiece Megatron, Takara's first crack at it. This might not just be one of the worst Transformers ever made. It might be one of the worst toys I have ever handled. It is an absolute nightmare. Every single review, every single opinion you've ever heard about this thing is correct. It is just a nightmare to transform. Mine's broken at the barrel. Luckily, it's still holding together fairly well. This is as well as I've been able to get it together. It is a gigantic, gangly, wobbly thing, and it fits absolutely perfectly in this stand. Just like the G1 stand with Megatron in it. I'm just gonna pull this out of the way here. This is what you call taking chicken crap and making chicken salad out of it. That is exactly how I am going to display MP05 from now on, because in robot mode he is just really, really not good. I like the novelty of having a ridiculously huge Walther P38, oversized. It's like Andre the Giant sized. And just like the G1 version, it's nice and steady. The barrel isn't anywhere close to touching the ground. And I don't know, maybe this will motivate any MP5 owner to dig this out of a bin or out of storage. And now you've actually got a decent place to display it, because this thing is just so ridiculously wobbly and unstable. It's a little unsettling to just have it sitting like that. So with something that is just so heavy, so wobbly, so fragile, you get a little bit of peace of mind having a nice sturdy stand for it, as well as fancying it up a little bit, because there is some really nice detailing on here. Got the Destron logo on the back and some more Cybertronian style sculpting on there. And since it does take up so much real estate, you also have the option of hanging it on the wall and having basically a sword-sized G1 Megatron gun hanging on your wall. So thanks again to Destron Designs. I don't know if this will work on your phone. I'll try to hold it steady for you, but check them out on Instagram, Facebook, as well as eBay. I'll put links. Really impressed. I know I've said it a couple of times here, but I just noticed little details. Like, it is tough to get clear plastic to look this good. Especially 3D printing. Very impressive. You can tell when something has had a lot of effort put into it, and Mike included a nice little letter. Thanks, Mike. Glad you enjoyed the Jetfire video, but it just seems as though he's worked very hard on these, and he's going to continue to try to improve. Honestly, I don't really see where they can be improved. The 3D printing lines, I think that's part of 3D printing, and it might actually be a good thing, because reproductions, like I said earlier, it can be kind of a heated debate on especially people being sold reproduction parts and being told that they're original parts. But I think as far as reproduction goes, it's nice when there's some sort of signifier that it's a reproduction part. No one's going to take these for originals, but even though they're not originals, they're fantastic. In some ways, they're, like I said earlier, superior. Some of the tightness, the tolerances, the quality on them is just absolutely superb. And then as far as the original idea of the Megatron gun, that right there is unfinished business. That should have been included with the original Megatron, or at least have been included with one of the Takara reissues. That is an absolute must-have piece if you're going to display your Megatron in gun mode. So thanks again, Destron Designs. Really, really love these. And I think if you're a Transformers fan out there and you're looking to restore and complete some of your very affordable Transformers that you've purchased incomplete, either online or at a convention or locally, I think you'll be quite satisfied with Destron Designs reproduction parts. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to share with your fellow Transformers fans, especially if they have a G1 Rodimus, Galvatron, or Megatron that they need to complete. And until next time, till all are fun and Nerdmas Day.